Let's talk about the F word, failure, for a little bit.
F word, whoa. Brian, what kind of show do we have here? No.
You know, a lot of people don't like to talk about their failures because, whatever. But the reality is you can't have success without it.
Well, first of all, I love talking about failure because I agree with you. I think failure, is your bridge to help you to the success that's going to come upcoming in your life. And you have to go through those failures to get you to be able to cross the bridge to the next place that you're going. I always say that. Hi, I'm Kendra Scott, founder and CEO of Kendra Scott, and you're watching Behind the Brand with Bryan Elliott.
Who would you like to change jobs with for a week?
I would love to be a Broadway actress for a week.
What's your spirit animal?
Ooh, my spirit animal is probably a tiger.
What was your very first job?
I worked at Super Value as a checker, and I was really good at it. I was quite fast.
Hi, I'm Bryan Elliott. Welcome to another edition of Behind the Brand. Today I'm here in beautiful Austin, Texas with Kendra Scott. Kendra, welcome to the show.
Thank you for being here. We're so glad you came to Austin to visit us.
I usually ask my guests, how do you get this job?
Oh, well, I started my first business when I was 19, which was a hat shop. And I loved fashion since I was a little girl. And, I really wanted to create something special and amazing. And I felt like there was something missing in jewelry. And I started it, out of the extra bedroom of my house, and here we are today.
So you knew what you wanted to do from a very early age?
I did. My aunt was a fashion director. I grew up in a little town in Wisconsin, and she was in Milwaukee, and she would travel to all the shows in Milan and Paris and bring back pictures of her being at the shows. And I remember, living in this small town, nobody was fashion designer where I grew up. So it was just like something bigger than life to think about doing it. But I was so engaged and excited about it. And to me, fashion was magic. You could put on a beautiful dress, and I would get in my Aunt Jo's closet, and suddenly you become somebody else. And it was amazing, and it was magical to me. Even both my parents, my father was a country lawyer. He set up shop for himself. I used to help him in the summers and on weekends. And my mother was a Mary Kay director. She started out as a consultant, an entrepreneur. She grew her business out of our little laundry room where we had stock of Mary Kay cosmetics, and I would see her grow this business. So I was inspired by all these amazing people who weren't afraid to try something new and to get out of their comfort zone and take a risk. And I think that really inspired me to want to do the same. And, fortunately, I had such an incredible support group between my parents and my dynamic aunt who were always rooting for me and really, had me believe that, you can grow up and be what you want to be. And I believed it. I always felt like I wanted to do something more every day. I had that in me since I was a little kid. Whether it was selling lemonade on the corner, I see kids, selling lemonade today, and I'm like, they may be running a big company someday. I had that initiative to want to work. I had the initiative to want to create and design since I was a little kid. But I think that it's just that having that fire in your belly. And if you have that fire in your belly and that desire to want to do something more, you can be a great entrepreneur.
What was your first job after lemonade stand, maybe?
Yeah, well, I worked as a checker at a grocery store, and I actually loved that job. I worked at the Gap as a sales associate, which was a really great experience of learning, getting my chops into retail and fashion, and did that throughout high school and a little bit in college. I worked as a waitress. I had, at one point, I think I was having 3 jobs at one time. So, I've worked since I was first able to get a job. And, I loved it. I loved the fashion side of it. I always wanted jobs in fashion. I think about being a checker at the grocery store, and it actually was one of my favorite jobs I ever had. And I think, you're relating to people. They're coming up in front of you, a stranger, and you have an opportunity to make their day happy. And I really felt like that was the lesson that I learned, is that in just a few moments of interacting with someone as you're checking out their groceries, you can take somebody that might be having an off day, and you can sense that when they walk up, and hopefully you could leave with them smiling or laughing, and that you've left them on their way in like a happy place. And I think that was impactful to me, is that in retail, in these jobs where you're public facing, it's like being on stage. You have to go out and you have to connect with people. And I learned that very, very young, and how important that was, and that was a gift.
Let's talk about the F word, failure, for a little bit.
F word, whoa, Bryan, what kind of show do we have here? No.
You know, a lot of people don't like to talk about their failures because, whatever. But the reality is you can't have success without it.
Well, first of all, I love talking about failure because I agree with you. I think failure, is your bridge to help you to the success that's going to come upcoming in your life, and you have to go through those failures to get you to be able to cross the bridge to the next place that you're going. I always say that. I had an early failure with my first business, was a hat company, a hat shop here in Austin. And I ran that business, worked the shop floor, did every aspect of it from accounting to marketing, worked every single day, had a little help from my mom, thankfully. But no matter how hard I worked, I couldn't get that business to take off. And after 5 years, I had to close it. And
What went wrong?
Well, first of all, I thought hats were going to be the next big thing. I wanted it to be like 1940 again, where everybody was wearing hats, and that just didn't work out. People are wearing them a little bit more now, but still, it just wasn't right. And I think that I was so focused on that I wasn't able to see what really was working. And I was making jewelry then, bringing it into my hat shop, and the jewelry would sell out the day I put it in the case. Yet I was so focused on the hat thing, the hats have got to work, that the thing that was working, I wasn't even paying attention to. And I think that was such an incredible lesson is, sometimes you have to take yourself out of the day-to-day mix and get a kind of a 360 perspective on what's going on. And when you do that, you can really get a better idea of where your success might lie, and that it's okay sometimes to change your course. And closing that shop, it was beyond a failure. I had lost all of my savings. I felt like I had let my family down. I had to go out and just get a job. The entrepreneur in me felt like, here we go. I've got to pay the bills. And even though, again, that wasn't what I had set out to do, the lessons I learned getting that job and the opportunities that I had there, all of those things, that experience, the hat shop, led me to be able to build Kendra Scott and have the success that we're having today. I had to do those things to get here.
We were just sitting back, chopping it up, reminiscing about the good old days and all that. Tracking my roots, where I came from and where I'm going. But like I say, man, always said it.